morning, vinyl community. How's everybody doing? It's me, JC, back again with Coming Soon. Here are some albums that are going to hit your local record stores and online establishments within the next few months. And we're going to have a very special video today. I have some co-hosts that will be joining you, so stay tuned. We have a massive amount of Paul McCartney and some super deluxes and some crazy prices. So hopefully you guys will stay tuned for the entire video. But I'm going to start with the big news, Wilco. So Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, their biggest album, what most people consider to be one of the best albums of that era, is being released in many different formats. So first we're going to get a 2 LP version, which is probably the version I'm going to snag up. And that's going to be $34.98, released on September 16th. But for your die-hard Wilco fans, we have a 7 LP edition for $149. And this is going to include demos, how they built the album, early sketches of the album to the finished product. And then 11 LP edition, which also comes with a CD and a book. So if you're really hardcore Wilco fans, that's going to be the way to go. And that's $249.98. I do find it, it's odd. Because the 7 LP is $150. That's a lot of money to me. But then they try to entice you by giving you 5 additional LPs and a CD and a book for that extra $100. So I think there's just a little bit of marketing there to try to get those hardcore fans to, like, it's only $100 more, I might as well do it. Then, the one that I am most excited about this week is going to be Carl Perkins and Friends. My dad actually used to have this on VHS. And this is Carl Perkins playing with Ringo Starr, George Harrison, Eric Clapton. It's all Carl Perkins Rockabilly songs. We know that George Harrison was a huge Rockabilly fan and a huge Carl Perkins fan. And that comes out July 1st, and it's going to be $29.99. So that will be definitely something that I will buy first day. Very, very excited.
Hello, everybody. Chris Propfe, Musically Obsessed. So thank you to Josh for letting me crash at his house and to be on his channel and talk about some of these new releases coming out. I always love when he does this, so it's an honor to get on here and talk about some of these new releases coming out. The first one is Kiss. Now, we know that Kiss has been doing a lot of these soundboard recordings. On June 10th, we've got Kiss, the soundboard recording of the Donington 1996 show. Now, a couple things. First of all, this is 3 discs. It's $60. And, not too bad. And I'm thinking what's kind of neat about these is that you can almost feel like, all right, if I didn't get to see that show live, I can at least listen to it, which is kind of a cool thing. My only complaint with these is that all the covers are the same, like the front covers of the albums. I wish Kiss kind of did something a little different with these albums. Maybe take the tour program or some image from the tour, put it on it to distinguish from each album, which would have been cool. Still, if you're a Kiss fan, that's probably something that you're looking forward to. I myself am a huge Kiss fan. I'm surprised I don't have any of these soundboard recordings. Maybe this is one I will pick up. That's June 10th. Now, next, for you Elton John fans, we've got a classic record, Madman Across the Water, coming out in a lot of different formats. Now, this one can get a little pricey. First of all, let me tell you the most expensive set. This comes out June 10th. It's a 4 LP vinyl box set. It has a booklet and a poster. Now, it's 4 discs for basically $200. I mean, that's a lot of money for that record. It's a great record. It's a classic record. I love Elton John. That's an album that I would definitely want to have in my collection, but $200, I don't know. I think I'd have to be a really major Elton John fan for that. Again, it's a classic record, but that's a little pricey. So here's something a little bit, better in terms of value. The CD version. It's a super deluxe edition, 3 CDs, Blu-ray, book, and poster. That's $89.98. So, I'm thinking if you're going to go that route, that might be the route to go. I myself, I have Madman Across the Water on CD. I'd have to think about it. Do I want to have all those? I mean, it's cool that there's some demos that come with it, some BBC recordings. some cool stuff if you're an Elton John fan. So definitely something to kind of ponder and think about. You know, do you want to go that route for the vinyl or the CD? But at least there are some choices out there for you. And lastly, something completely different from Elton John to Killswitch Engage. And on June 3rd, they have a live album coming out called Live at the Palladium. This is on clear lilac blue marbled colored vinyl. The cover looks great. The vinyl looks like a really cool looking color variant on that. This is 2 discs for $39.98. Killswitch Engage. I have a couple of their CDs. They're a really good band. They're sort of that new wave of the thrash that came out. And what was great about them is you had bands like, you know, Linkin Park and Slipknot and Korn that were kind of mixing in sort of hip-hop and industrial sounds. Killswitch Engage came along and said, screw that, we're just going to barrel at you with thrash. And I think it's more aggressive than some of maybe the older thrash, but still, I think that's why they called it this new wave, because they were basically hearkening back to that old thrash, but just stepping it up to a new generation. So, I mean, that's kind of cool for you Killswitch Engage fans. June 3rd, you can pick up a live album of theirs, and like I said, the cover looks great, and the vinyl looks like a cool color too. So, all right, guys. Come on over to Chris Propfe and Musically Assessed. Check out my channel. And again, thank you, Josh, for having me on here.
Hey, VC, how's it going? Jeff Whitcher, Vinyl Destination here. And I have some exciting news for Paul McCartney fans, particularly if you are interested in colored vinyl. Colored vinyl doesn't happen to be my thing. If I get a decent copy of a Paul McCartney record, that is good enough for me. But I understand there are people out there who love all the different color variations. Now, the good news is they are reasonably priced. You're going to get 5 new album releases. The bad news is, unfortunately, some of these are Paul McCartney's weakest albums. There's one excellent classic album, and then we've got 4 that tend to be on the mediocre side. So the first one is Wings at the Speed of Sound, which of course was the Wings 1976 release. And this was an album Paul McCartney wanted it to be very much a Wings band album. So you do have some Paul McCartney tracks on here, but you also have Cook of the House, which is a Linda McCartney vocal. You've got Wino Junko, which is a track that was sung by Jimmy McCulloch. Unfortunately, he did pass away a year or 2 after this album's release. You've got a Joe English track on here. You've got a Denny Lane track. And unfortunately, it really waters down the quality of Wings at the Speed of Sound. So if you don't own this album already, this might be a reasonable purchase for you to make. I, in particular, not a huge fan of this record. I do like Beware My Love is a great track. Obviously, Let 'Em In is a classic Paul McCartney track. But for me, this is not an album I'm going to need on orange vinyl. The next one we've got is Tug of War, which is going to be released on blue vinyl. And all these are going to be $29.98. Tug of War was the first album released after John Lennon was assassinated. So you've got Paul's tribute to John with Here Today. But then you've got his collaboration with Stevie Wonder, Ebony and Ivory, which I think is one of the worst pieces of crap Paul McCartney ever released. You've got Take It Away, which is a mediocre early 80s hit. Not a lot. You do have a Carl Perkins duet, actually, on here, which, you know, is worth the price of admission. But Tug of War, for me, some people consider it to be a comeback album after McCartney 2 and after his last, I guess, true Wings album, Back to the Egg. But I don't think it has aged very well, to be honest with you. It's more of a novelty purchase, if I'm going to, you know, be honest. And then the next one, an even worse album, is Pipes of Peace, which was released, I believe, a year later. Kind of the yin to Tug of War's yang. This is going to be released on silver vinyl. Of course, you got Say, Say, Say and The Man, which were Michael Jackson collaborations. You've got the title track, Pipes of Peace, which was a video that they made for MTV. But not a whole lot to recommend this album either. Paul McCartney, I think, was kind of at a creative, I don't know, he kind of had a lapse of creativity. He was kind of struggling in the early 80s. That's, again, an album that has a very dated sound. And then he would go on to record Give My Regards to Broad Street, which many consider to be an even worse album than Pipes of Peace. But we're not getting that on colored vinyl, at least not yet. Now, definitely the jewel of these releases is going to be the album New, which was released a few years ago. This is going to be on pink vinyl, one of Paul McCartney's most recent best albums. I think everybody can agree. He's on a string of great albums. You had New, and then you had Egypt Station. We just had McCartney 3 that dropped a couple years ago. So this one, definitely, if there was one I was going to buy, it would be the New album. On the pink vinyl. And then the last one, and this is another album that I've seen people rank at the bottom if they're ranking Paul McCartney's discography, and that is going to be the Russian album Choba B CCCP, which is basically back in the USSR in Russian. It's an oldies album. He's doing some covers of some classic oldies that he grew up with, but it just doesn't do anything for me. I'm not really a big fan of these interpretations. It's an album that I own, but I never play. It's just sort of there in my library of Paul McCartney music. This is going to be on yellow vinyl, I think, because you can piss all over it. It's that kind of an album. I don't care for it that much. But if you want it, again, it's still the same price of the other, $29.98, which I think you could have dropped the price on this one a bit lower, just given the quality of that album. So anyway, it kind of got mixed up. I'm ambivalent about these releases. I think it's cool that he's doing it. Beatle fans, Paul McCartney fans, you can put out an album in any color under the rainbow and they will buy it. So I understand. It does smack a little bit of a cash grab, but colored vinyl is a thing. I get it. But he could have picked some better albums to release, perhaps. But it seems like he's going through his catalog and going to be releasing all of these eventually on colored vinyl anyway. So that's my take. Thanks again, JC, for letting me intrude on your channel. And everybody have a great day.